only 25 years old, was an absolute crushing nurse who was able to do it all and then decided there's something more.
The medical device industry aligned with what I wanted, my entrepreneurial spirit, serving others. There's a lot of opportunity in medical device sales. I didn't really feel like I was called to go back to school as well and study.
There's two things I hear the most. Number one, I don't feel fulfilled. I feel like I could be doing more. Right? I don't feel fulfilled. And number two, but I did the clinicals to get this. I went and got a master's or a doctorate. I don't want to throw it away, but what people miss is you're not throwing it away. You're just actually stacking on top of it. The greatest foundation you could have that then sets you apart during this process.
I remember coming across a YouTube video, decided that this was the right thing for me. And I found myself enrolling in the program. Something inside of me just spoke. I knew it was the right path.
Let's just say who's a nurse or from that healthcare background. What do you feel could help them stand out through this process like you did and got hired with one of the largest medical device companies?
Great question.
Welcome back to New to Medical Device Sales. I am your host, Jacob McLaughlin, and today, my friends, I am bringing you an absolute stud who was able to go from nursing to breaking into medical device sales with one of the largest medical device companies in the world, is a New to Medical Device Sales member, and is now living his best life in the Sunshine State. So today, we're going to get to know and learn from Mr. Charles Studer, only 25 years old, was an absolute crushing nurse who was able to do it all and then decided there's something more. So Charles, welcome to the program, man.
Pleasure to have been through the program and come out the other side. Super blessed to be in the position that I'm in and give everything.
Oh man, well, it's going to be good. People are going to get a lot up from this is because, again, a lot of times it's that full circle moment, right? Like you guys go from watching the podcast to then coming and joining the program, and then now you're on the other side and you're now on the podcast. Let's first start with who is Charles? So give us a little bit of background, like where you grew up, where you went to school, all that good stuff.
Small town California. I was fortunate enough to have two loving parents and a well family, and my father, who is a chiropractor, and my mom, she's a nurse. So healthcare runs within the family. And ever since 15, 16 years old, like I knew my passion was helping others. I didn't know what exactly I wanted to do, but I just always wanted to just help, whatever it was, just do something for other people. And that was something that was kind of instilled in me by my parents. And I had a lot of influence from my mother because I had started doing volunteer work at a assisted living facility.
Yep.
So kind of learned the business side a little bit, but also taking care of patients and what that looks like. So I decided to go to college for nursing and major in nursing. So I did my prerequisite courses at Cal State East Bay, which was the university that I first attended. And then I actually got rejected from the nursing program. Found a school, Chamberlain University, applied, got into their program, finished my nursing degree like I once had. My goal was to do that. And I wanted to finish school, finish my degree. And that was just something that I needed to do and had on my heart. Did that, was practicing as a nurse. I came across a lot of Jacob McLaughlin content just across all social media platforms. And I was always so curious about the industry, both while in nursing school and then after being a nurse.
Yeah.
One day I was just like, wow, this industry sounds amazing. And I had kind of interacted with clinical specialists and poked the bear a little bit, but learning more about the course and the value that it provides and just the trajectory that I needed to do. The medical device industry aligned with what I wanted, my entrepreneurial spirit, and also just the healthcare serving others was just everything aligned perfectly with what I wanted.
That's many of the stories that we hear from a lot of people is, like my mom was a nurse as well, right? And we have those people in our life that, going nursing and we want to help people, but we don't know what that looks like. But everyone says, hey, go nursing, right? And you can always do it. And the safe thing is once you have a nursing degree, you can do a lot of different things, but you'll always have a job. That's always like what everyone always says, right? Now, just a side note, everybody, if you go get a degree and do stuff, you almost always have a job. There's always jobs to be done, right? But many people will say, oh, you can always go nursing. But I think something that's really important for you that you mentioned and for everyone to hear is, you always had a little bit of more of like an entrepreneurial side. You had like a little more of like, hey, you wanted to not just clock in, clock out. You're like, hey, what else can I be doing? Right. Because you said you saw it from a young age of seeing like the business side of everything. And so can you just kind of have that conversation with us about like, you were doing nursing, but what about it was like, hey, you're in nursing that you just didn't feel fully fulfilled that made you look at medical device sales? After helping thousands of people break into medical device sales, we've received a lot of messages of asking for more personalized coaching and mentorship. Our average member breaks in 8.5 weeks at over $105,000. And if you're really interested and really motivated to break into medical device sales, you can click the link below or check out our website at newtomedicaldevicesales.com. See all the testimonial videos of people breaking in with Medtronic at over $170,000. At Abbott, $175,000 as a full line rep. So if you're really excited and also motivated and wanting personalized coaching and mentorship, then go and click the link below, schedule a call, and we'll get you where you want to go. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
My father had always been self-employed as well.
Yep.
As a chiropractor. And then as COVID happened, he also opened a jujitsu gym. And that was opened up an entrepreneurial spirit that I had and wanted to get into more of the business side of things. And while working with my father, and I attribute a lot of inspiration to my father as well, just with my path. And I found myself wanting to know more about business and also to escape the four corners of the hospital and just get out and about. And that really drove me to medical device sales. It's fascinating, and I'm definitely all aboard and in this industry.
So what made you want to make the jump, right? Like, because again, a lot of people look at it, and again, so just so you guys know, when we talk to nurses, right, it's like, hey, I want something more. They look at like nurse practitioner school, right? Like they could go there. But again, they usually are like, hey, that's going to be a couple more years. That's going to be a lot more money and debt. And then even if I did do that, basically all you're doing is buying another job because now you got a pay raise, but now you have a bunch more debt to go pay off, and then you usually got a lot more responsibility, and it's like this cycle that we see, right? So again, why not go like the nurse practitioner route? Why not go one of those routes and be like, hey, I want to be in the sales world. I want to go into like, hey, where medical device sales, the clinical specialist role. Like, what about that drew you more than just staying in that nurse world, the healthcare world of that employee mindset?
Yeah, so there's a few different reasons. They're not all concrete, but I didn't want to go back to school. Number one, I don't really want to pull out more student loans and go through that rabbit hole.
Yep.
And then also I didn't really feel like I was called to go back to school as well and study.
Yep.
And there's a lot of opportunity in medical device sales, and to really network and just be a great individual and build your professional career. Another part two of that would be because it's not really the common thing to do in nursing.
Yep.
I know nurses that have made the switch, but it's not something that it's not one of those things that first comes to mind. You know, it's typically for nurses, it's like you can do nurse practitioner, director of nursing, CRNA. There's a lot of different avenues that you could take, but and people don't really, I don't want to say forget about medical device sales, but it's a path less chosen. Everything just aligned with what I thought of myself.
Yeah, and where you're going. And we see that a lot of times, right? We see people who are like, hey, I want to go into nursing. And then they're like, hey, they start looking at all the other options. But something that you said is like, hey, they might not always think about med device sales, but they've seen the reps, right? They've seen the clinical specialist. And then what we hear a lot of times, just so you guys all know that are nurses and the healthcare professionals, it's, I want something more. I don't want to do what everyone else is doing, right? And again, we even talk about the nurse practitioners and all those. You still get capped, right? So you could still come in and you can work, but then they're going to be capped. I even just talked to a PA the other day, right? And it's like, you all go get more schooling, you go into way more debt to go just get a higher hourly paying job, which you're going to be capped out at. And then you normally are just working with people who aren't that nice because they're sick or don't feel well or whatever it comes into. And then it's like, hey, I want to be able to work hard and financially be set up, and I don't want to have the exact same day every single day. Right. And so that's like the common thing I hear from our healthcare workers. And it makes a lot of sense of, like people don't think about med device sales, but it's like you just have to look at all your different options and there's a best fit for everyone. Right. I talked to some great nurses and some nurses are like, hey, man, I want to do my 3 hour or 3 shifts in and out. Right. But what we hear is from our healthcare workers are the people who are like, they want more out of life, right? The number two, there's two things I hear the most. Number one, I don't feel fulfilled. I feel like I could be doing more, right? I don't feel fulfilled. And number two, I feel like I could make a bigger impact, right? Especially with my nurses, instead of just being like, hey, I'm 1 on 12 or I'm like seeing my patients and it's just 1 on 1, I could be selling a product that now changes so many people's lives. I could work with one surgeon that does all these surgeries, right? So we see a lot of that. Now, one thing I want to talk about is like, so you left California and then you went over to
Yeah.
Indiana, right? Which, just so you guys know, way different worlds. I'm from Iowa, so like way different worlds, cornfields, humidity, like not the ocean and not California. So now when we talked and you joined the new medical device sales program, it was, hey, I don't want to stay in Indiana if I can help it. I would like to go back to California where my family is. What what kind of made you think that way? Which is really good. And the reason I asked you that is because a lot of people who think that when they come to us, two things. A, they think they have to move if they're doing medical device sales, which just so you guys know, you don't. We could have got you hired in Indianapolis, right? We've done it. But we also can help you guys be like, hey, I want to not stay where I'm at. I want to go somewhere else. We've been able to help people do that as well. So what was kind of the big things for you wanting to like, hey, I want to get out of Indiana and I want to go back home to California?
Great question. I love that. I love that you asked. Well, because my values, and this is personal and this is just my opinion,
Yeah.
nobody has to follow my own values, but it goes God, family, job or career, and then like hobbies,
Yep.
right? So family is number two, right? Right there, you know.
Yeah.
And I just had a nephew. I had only seen him twice
Yep.
since being in Indiana, and um, I made the conscious goal and also written goal that I wanted to be closer to family, and that was one of the goals that I wanted for myself in breaking in this industry, and I was fortunate enough to make that happen. So if that answers your question,
Yeah, that answer is really good. I think the biggest thing I just wanted people to hear is, like everyone's got different values, right? And everyone wants different things, but also what's like, where you guys want to go? Because again, the most common thing I get asked is like, I just had a talk the other day as well with people think it's either two things. I have to stay in the town I'm at or city I'm at, or I have to relocate. Just so you guys know who's listening, it's both. Right. Like the person I just talked to is out of Ohio. They're 40 minutes from Cleveland. They're like, I have to move. And I'm like, no, you don't. Cleveland Clinic's one of the largest hospitals in all of America. Right. Like, so you can stay. But then we also have people like yourself who are like, I'm in Indiana, but I'd rather like make myself out west. Right. Or we get a lot of people who are like, hey, I'm in the Midwest, but I want to make myself to Florida, Tampa. Do you think it's possible? And I'm like, wait, you mean the most busiest like city and where everyone's moving for in all of America? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that there would probably be a job out there. But again, just because many people have a lack of mindset, I just want to just put that out there for everybody. It's like, yeah, you can get wherever you want to get to, but you just have to know how to do it. Now, one thing I just want to touch on, Charles, is like, okay, so you're a nurse, and I always make the joke with our nurses and our healthcare professionals. They're usually our hardest people to want to have come into the program. And what I mean by that is they're always the most scared. They all think when they come and join and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm quit my job today, right? I now I'm done, right? And so what I just want someone, because they're going to resonate with you, is, when you decided to finally make that investment in yourself and be like, hey, I want to change my future. What was that point that made you actually be like, hey, I don't want to keep doing what I'm doing and I want to reach out to these guys? Like, I just want somebody else to hear it, because I know a lot of times in encouragement, a lot of nurses and healthcare professionals are like, well, and then we have all these excuses of why we can't do it. But like, what made you be like, hey, no, I'm actually going to get on a call and I want to actually commit? What was that point for you?
I had a stretch of 3 long days. And I remember coming across a YouTube video and I clicked on it and I just decided that this was the right thing for me.
Yeah.
And I wanted more. And I found myself enrolling in the program. Something inside of me just spoke and I knew it was the right path.
I love it. And when I appreciate that because just so you know, guys, it's like, again, everyone who's out there in the healthcare world, like it's scary to make that change. And the number one thing I hear from healthcare workers is they feel like they're throwing their degree away, right? Oh, I went for 4 years and I did all this stuff and I did the clinicals to get this. Same thing with our PTs and OTs. Hey, I went and got a master's or a doctorate. I don't want to throw it away. But what people miss is you're not throwing it away. You're just actually stacking on top of it, right? Like it's the greatest foundation you could have that then sets you apart during this process. But it's not going to set you apart from just, okay, I have that. Now let me go apply and I'll get a job. That won't help you. But it does help you if you know what to do and you know how to do it, then how to stand out because you also can speak to that clinical world. You can speak that you've talked to surgeons and all of that. But I just want to put that out there for any healthcare professionals that are listening to this because you have to know that it's not thrown away because that's the mindset. And again, I always just say this in the most loving way, especially in the nursing world and all that. It's the crab in the buckets, right? We don't like to see people progress. So as people progress, they grab and if you don't know crabs, they grab the bucket. They're trying to get out of the bucket. They'll grab and pull down, right? And so what it is you're not leaving and throwing something away. You're actually getting out to stack on top of it of what can make your life even better. And so I always just want to throw that out to my all my healthcare professionals because some of our best candidates, nurses, speech language pathologist, occupational therapist, physical therapist, all of those, minimum 4 years of schooling and a lot of clinicals. But they all think I went into debt for this. I invested in it. I have to do this. But again, then the conversation I always have and I joke around with is y'all go in there, you invest in it, and then you don't like it and you don't feel fulfilled. And I'm like, how would you feel if you stayed there for another 3 years? And you're like, I hate it. I would not be happy with myself. I would not be happy with the situation I'm in. And so it's like, are you willing to make that investment that you already did that's already been way more expensive and quote unquote didn't pay off to where you thought it would be to then change your life? And now you did it. And now you're in California working for the largest medical device company in the world, having a little bit of fun right now.
Yeah, I'm blessed and I wake up super grateful for the opportunity that I'm in and the place that God has led me. And I want to continue to just be humble and just give back and serve others and be the best clinical specialist that I can be.
Yeah.
That's one of my goals right now.
Let's talk about this because I think this could be really helpful to the listeners and especially like nurses and the clinicals is what made you go the clinical specialist route and not go the associate sales rep route or the full line sales rep route? Because again, just so you guys know those healthcare backgrounds, you actually could do like the trifecta. Like we have had people get placed in all three. So what made you steer towards more of the clinical specialist route?
Learning about the clinical specialist route, it's specific because you get more of the patient interaction portion. And that's something that's one of the main reasons why I became a nurse was
Yep.
to take care of patients, right?
Yep.
So with the clinical specialist role, you get the best of both worlds, in my opinion. You get the sales aspect and you also get the clinical expertise and you get to use that technical knowledge that you learn in nursing school and you get to hone that in and refine that and like you said earlier, stack on top of that and learn more and continue to grow those skills. So
Yep.
it's I thought it was the perfect fit.
Yeah, and just so you guys know, that's where we take a lot of our clinicals and we put them in the clinical specialist role because here's the number one thing we hear is, I don't want to have a quota. I don't want to be tied to a quota. I don't want to have to go sell. And many nurses and again, those clinicals, OTs, PTs, SLPs got into it because they want to do the patient facing. And that's what's cool about the clinical specialist role is a lot of times you're not going to be tied to a quota. Now you can have to help with the quota, right? Or there can be certain targets that they want you to hit, but your pay is not always just navigated with that. But the reason I'm saying that is because then you guys get to do the patient facing. You guys actually will interact with the patients a lot of time. It's what we would call the product specialist, right? And then they're going to be talking to a lot of the people. And also, it just doesn't feel as new to you all because again, you've already had those experiences. You're just doing it from a different lens this time, right? Wearing a little bit of a different hat, but it's going to be something that you guys fit very well into. And so I just want to put that out there for any healthcare workers that are listening to this is you all have great experience that all can transfer. But you have to be okay with transferring, and it may look a little different, but everyone thinks medical device sales is just associated with full line rep, like you're selling, right? But they miss that many of these companies are looking for clinicals so that they can go and have them service their product, go be in surgeries or go talk with patients after surgeries or before surgeries, right? Who can be on call. So like that's the thing I want you all to hear because many people miss this. And I would just tell you that's what we send a lot of our clinicals to. And that's why a lot of med device companies reach out to us because we get a lot of clinical people, nurses, SLPs, OTs, PTs, and they're like, hey, we need somebody. And then again, just so everybody's out there is we've also got nurses or a physical therapist hired as full line reps, right? Starting out above 150 grand, right? And people will be like, well, geez, how? The biggest thing is like age is going to play a big role on that, maturity, experience, and hunger, right? Because here's the thing. If you're a little more timid, probably more that associate sales rep role, right? That entry level. But if you're like, hey, I don't want to do anything in the sales world as of right now, but maybe in a couple of years once I get my footing, then that's where we go the clinical route, right? But then I get other people that are in the nurses or especially like physical therapists. I see this a lot is they're like, I'm hungry. I'm ready to go. Give me the shot. Let me go earn myself sink or swim, baby. And then again, have a very professional background, have been doctorates or, have their masters or wherever we're at there. And then again, very hungry, driven, and they're not scared of having it. And so I just want to put that out there for anyone listening that there's a lot of different backgrounds in it. The last question I always like to ask is if someone's going to break into medical device sales, right? They're going to watch this and they're going to reach out and be like, hey, Charles, what's your advice for me, right? What's your advice to somebody, let's just say who's a nurse or from that healthcare background, who's like, I want to break into medical device sales. Like, what do you feel could help them stand out through this process like you did and got hired with one of the largest medical device companies?
Great question. And thank you for asking. Find a mentor and have them help you because that's what everybody needs in life is somebody that knows what it takes, knows the process, understands the process, know how to trust the process. And that is new to medical device sales.
I appreciate that, man.
That's the answer. There's things that you need to go back to the drawing board, go back to the drawing board, go back. It's like, it's learning something,
Yep.
it's learning and you have to know how to digest information, pay attention. Being a good listener helps.
Yeah.
Being a good listener and following through, following up. And that's all things that are found in the course.
Appreciate it, man. Well, just so you guys know a couple things. Number one, why we can be so confident is we have people from that clinical background as coaches in there, right? So it's not like you're just like guessing, like people who have been in your shoes and now they work for the largest medical device companies in the world too. Like they can help you. So it's not us navigating. And second off on all this is, I always say this because one of the surgeons that, was doing the brain surgery for my girlfriend, like we went and met with him and he was like, he told her she had to get brain surgery. And of course it's a very scary thing and it's a very emotional thing. And, as she got a little emotional, he looked at her and he said, hey, I know you're scared because it's your first time, but just know it's not our first time, right? He's done it thousands of times and he wasn't worried about it at all, right? And the reason I'm just saying that, it's the same thing with all of our healthcare workers and anybody that I ever work with is many times when you guys are going to make that jump, it's scary. And all you're going to hear is all the what ifs. What if it doesn't work out? What if I don't get where I want to? What if that's where our minds go? It's a negative. But again, for us, we don't wonder about the what ifs if it doesn't. We only talk about what the what ifs when it does because of all the good things that are going to happen. Because again, this isn't our first time here at New Medical Device Sales helping you break in. We've done it with thousands of people. Exhibit A, right? So the reason I'm just saying that is I just want to put that out there. And again, Charles, first off, appreciate the kind words, but like he said, the biggest thing is coming in and just being active, right? Can you be a listener? Can you actually be able to follow up the correct way? Can you actually do the little things that you guys know what to do, but you've probably never done it to the level that you need to do it to? And that's the biggest thing that we focus here at Noonan Medical Device Sales is, again, our average person comes in at over six figures. How do we make you a six-figure person? How do we make you a person who can go get jobs at six figures, no problem? And that's a whole different mindset. And so I just want you guys to hear that. But Charles, I just want to say, man, it has been so much fun watching you go from your journey. I remember our first call together to now you living in California, living the dream. You're by your family. You don't have to work in all the traffic of LA and all that good stuff. You're just living your dream life, man, and it's just starting for you. And I know you're going to be successful. And I just want to say congratulations, man. It's been fun to watch you, to bet on you, to see you bet on yourself, and now to see it all pay off. And this is just the beginning. Like, congratulations, and it's awesome to watch.
Thank you. Couldn't have done it without you, Jacob. So
I appreciate it, man. And you guys listening, press that like and subscribe button if you can. You can also share this with somebody that you feel like it's helpful that's in the healthcare world. And if you guys are really interested in breaking into medical device sales, again, our average person breaks in at 8.5 weeks at over $105,000 through our program. And you guys can click the link to learn more. But just know we always want you to win. And if you guys need anything, please feel free to reach out. But until next time, keep hustling, keep going after your dreams, and we'll see you. Peace.